Okay, I'm here with Sean O'Halloran, who is a student at Essex, I believe, and he's studying 3 different subjects, which I completely forgot by now. But what brings you to conference here today?
Here today? Well, I've been very much active on Twitter for a long time, and I believe the tools we use, so Facebook, Twitter, etc., are imperative to spreading the movement, and even more importantly, disseminating information to members of the public who would not otherwise know these things. So, for instance, if we take movements like UK Uncut, for example, whereby we were able to spread the information about Vodafone's tax dodge to thousands and thousands of people who would not otherwise have known about it. And it's these sorts of organisations and these sorts of movements, even, that are incredibly important in terms of helping people understand that the cuts are not the only way forward. That, for instance, if we were collecting the £6 billion that Vodafone owes us, then we would not have to be cutting local authority grants, for instance. So that's my basic belief, and that's why I'm here today.
What politically activated you? Politics.
I still didn't catch that, sorry.
What drove you to politics?
What drove me to politics? Well, since I was very young, I've been in foster care because my mother and my father couldn't look after me. So I got very much active in advocating for children in care, so children's rights services. And through that, I was asked to partake in a scheme called Young Advisors, which is a scheme whereby young people are trained to advise local government and government organisations on, how to engage with young people, how to engage with communities. And I guess it was very much that drove my political side, I suppose, to think about where I am, particularly on the political compass, as it were. And I suppose it's not just about Labour, Conservative, Lib Dems. It's about politics with a small p in terms of do I believe in should people be allowed to dodge tax, and do I believe students have to pay for university, that sort of thing. So that's what drove me politically. And I suppose as a postcursor to that, I've then gone on to join political parties and political movements to sort of that represent my views.
And do you find that your feelings and your sentiments and motivates you universal amongst people within your age range, or within your college, or amongst your peers?
Sorry, I didn't catch a word of that.
Do you find that what motivates you and what actually drives you politically is the same sort of thing that actually drives your peers as well?
I think that there are basic things, so for instance tuition fees and EMA, that drive a lot of young people right now in politics. At the same time, however, there are a number of students where I'm from that are very much right-wing, who believe that other students shouldn't get EMA. So I think to say that students are driven by the same things is a fallacy. At the same time, there are these common motivators, yes. But I mean, especially for me, what drove me was the idea of children in care, that sort of idea. Whereas maybe for some of my friends it might be more that their parents' housing benefits are going to be cut. So I think everyone's got their individual things, but yes, there are definitely these common motivators.
There is a kind of an argument that because your generation has been fairly, has a very strong sense of entitlement, that when you've got all of this taken away, this is the reason why you're fighting back so hard. What would you say to that?
Well, this sense of entitlement has been born out of the fact that generations before us have been given these things for free. So the very politicians who are taking away cheap or at least subsidised university education, they got theirs for free. The same politicians who are taking away EMA, they got, well, for a start, their further education needs were, there weren't as many going into further education, and generally speaking, 50 years ago, if you were going into further education, you tended to be from a fairly well-off background anyway. So the politicians and the sort of people in authority who are taking these things away from us have always been the ones that had it good. So why shouldn't we be entitled? Why shouldn't we be driven by this entitlement? And therefore, why shouldn't our reaction, our resistance, be as strong? There is no reason it shouldn't be.
So Sean, how can people find out more about you, what you do, any groups that you're involved with? I mean, do you have a Twitter handle, or do you have any way for people to find out?
My Twitter handle is Sean J O'Halloran. That's SeanJohalloran. I use that to tweet both political things and personal things. I mean, I don't see why these things should be separate. I think that there's a marriage between our politics and our personal lives that is it's really, really important because it gives you a context behind things too. I'm on Facebook, obviously, and we use, for instance, the UCL occupation movement and the UK Uncut movement have both used Facebook and Twitter very much to emphasise, both to organise and to communicate the events that go on. So I find them both very useful. And I turn up to these sort of events and I do a lot of networking as well. And mainly because I find it incredibly useful. You meet the people that you would not normally meet.
So, will you be occupying Monaco?
Will I be occupying Monaco? Absolutely, 100% yes. To the extent where tomorrow we're having an organising committee, so I'm going to be going on to that and hopefully putting my views forward and getting some of the organising done as well. It's all very well to be part of the 100,000 people we hope to get there to Monaco to occupy. It's something else to be part of the team that helps drive that as well, which I find really, really important.
Sean, I'm in awe. Thanks very much for your help. All right, thanks.